We are not simply users of creation. We are, all of us, called to be its offerers. The world will be lifted as it was always meant to be by our priestly love. We can, you see, take it with us. It will be precisely because we loved this old Jerusalem of a world enough to bear it in our bones that its textures will ascend when we rise. It will be because our eyes have relished the earth that the colors of its countries will compel our hearts forever. The bread and pastry, the cheeses, the wines, and the songs go into the supper of the Lamb because we do. It is our love that brings the city home. Father Robert Farrar Capon passed away last week. Episcopal priest, chef, food writer for such publications as the New York Times, author of this classic book, The Supper of the Lamb.
Happens to be one of my wife's absolute favorite books.
And worthy of that honor. The Supper of the Lamb, a culinary reflection. This is a cookbook of all things. It's about cooking and theology. And what is our show? What is this segment about, Jay, other than food and theology? Capon was an anti-Gnostic. He did not think that Christianity was about just checking out of this wonderful world that God made, that God loves the material world. He loves food. He created it, and it's for our enjoyment.
You know, it reminds me of I was listening to a pastor down in Dallas, Texas, Matt Chandler.
Yeah.
And he talked about that in one of his recent sermons, that our pleasure as Christians, our pleasure in food, wine, whatever it is, does not end with that thing.
Right.
It
goes deeper. It goes deeper.
It goes larger.
We go from the gift. We can move from the gift to the giver.
Right.
And that's something that Father Capon just modeled for us, how to move from the gift to the giver. I mean, he was a tremendous writer. As a matter of fact, Jay, why don't you read this? You should read this passage.
The passage my wife blogged?
It's marked there and then on the second page.
Right.
This is Capon writing about the virtues of the meat cleaver.
So we might end up stepping on some feminist toes.
Oh, it's wonderful, yes. Let's step on the feminists' toes today.
Properly edged and skillfully used, a cleaver will prepare whole meals without the assistance of another knife. But it does more. It bolsters your ego as a cook. Parting chickens with aplomb, you begin to believe you really might make it. And so does everyone else. A woman with cleaver in mid-swing is no mere woman. She breaks upon the eye of the beholder as an epiphany of power, as mistress of a house in which only trifles may be trifled with, and in which she defines the trifles. A man who has seen a woman only as gentle arrangers of flowers has not seen all that women have to offer. Unsuspected majesties await. You will be provided with an instant rejoinder to anyone who presumes to lecture you on housewifery as an abject capitulation to the feminine mystique. Simply let him see you presiding over your kitchen with steel in one hand and butcher knife in the other. Execute 6 well-drawn strokes, and his words will turn to ashes in his mouth. He was ready only for a maladjusted prisoner of the pantry. You have showed him instead one of the priestly archetypes of the race. Mystique indeed. He has hardly scratched the surface.
Beautiful.
I have
passage.
no words.
Yes, the power, the feminine power of wielding a cleaver.
I've mentioned this before on this segment, that sometimes when my wife is cooking something really amazing, I just want to go have sex. Honey, let's make love, baby.
Yeah, wow, yeah. I didn't know that this segment was going precisely in that direction, but
you know what I
maybe that's one of the reasons Father Capon was actually an Episcopal priest and not a Roman Catholic.
There is a passage.
So he could get married.
There is a passage in a book about Mario Batali called Heat.
Yeah.
That Molly has read me, and there is something sexual about food, and it's the fact that what is the only other job where you actually get to make something that you put inside somebody else?
Well, okay. Yeah.
There you go.
That's pretty interesting. Wow. Anyway, we're celebrating
I love my wife
the
in
life
the kitchen.
We're you love her all the
Joining her
you love her
in
all the
kitchen.
time.
I know,
yes.
but she is such a way with food.
Yeah, one of the things that my wife and I do is cook together on special occasions, like anniversaries. We don't go out to a restaurant. We've decided that we invariably kind of leave a little bit underwhelmed. Because we think we could have spent a fraction of the money, gone and bought filet mignon and gorgonzola cheese to put or sprinkle over the top or whatever.
It's almost all you need.
And so what we do is we'll go buy great meat and we'll
wrap the filet in bacon.
We will cook together in the kitchen, wrap in bacon, of course.
I need to not do this segment when I'm hungry.
I know, I'm starving now. So what we'll do is we'll cook, and the nice thing is you're cooking together, and you're sharing a bottle of wine, and you don't have to worry about driving home from a restaurant. You're already at home. It's a really great thing. Cooking there is something really mystical about it. Well, to finish off our segment, I'm going to propose a toast in honor of the memory of Robert Capon. And it's a toast that he actually wrote himself. And this was a benediction that he would give at dinner parties. And I just think it's so beautiful that that's what we're going to do. We're going to toast Robert Farrar Capon. With that, I leave you. From this point on, a well-made dinner party is... I'm on the wrong paragraph. Holy cow, look at that. I even had it set.
That was the right paragraph.
That is the right paragraph?
That's the right paragraph.
You're right, it is the right paragraph.
I can see it from here.
Oh, you can see it from here. There it is. I was starting
It
in
says
wrong
the
place.
right paragraph right down the...
It does, doesn't it?
You'd think he would be prepared.
I had the book and I had it marked. So I'm
Read.
prepared. I wish you well. May your table be graced with lovely women and good men. May you drink well enough to drown the envy of youth in the satisfactions of maturity. May your men wear their weight with pride, secure the knowledge that they have at last become considerable. May they rejoice that they will never again be taken for callow, black-haired boys. And your women? Ah, women are like cheese strudels. When first baked, they are crisp and fresh on the outside, but the filling is unsettled and indigestible. In age, the crust may not be so lovely, but the filling comes at last into its own. May you relish them indeed. May we all sit long enough for reserve to give away to ribaldry and for gallantry to grow upon us. May there be singing at our table before the night is done, and old broad jokes to fling at the stars and tell them we are men. We are great, my friend. We shall not be saved for trampling that greatness underfoot. As Song of Solomon says, come then, leap upon these mountains, skip upon these hills and heights of earth. The road to heaven does not run from the world, but through it. The longest session of all is no discontinuation of these sessions here, but a lifting of them all by priestly love. It is a place for men, not ghosts. For the risen gorgeousness of the new earth, and for the glorious earthiness of the true Jerusalem. Eat well then. Between our love and his priesthood, he makes all things new. Our last home will be home indeed. Father Capon, you've made it home, and we will see you soon.